and troubles always plaguing us. From New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance Xfinity Series is gearing up to go short track racing in the Granite State. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Loud New Hampshire. Our points leader, Eugenio Alonso, continues his epic search for his first win of the season. Last night in the Stacy Strong Cup Series, Jacob Schneider led 133 laps here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, but failed to capture the checkered flag as Brandon Edstrom battled his way to victory lane. Now tonight we turn our attention to these Xfinity drivers who make for some of the best racing on iRacing.com. I'm Dave Riedel here in the broadcast booth, and I'd like to thank you for making SRM a part of your evening, because I'll be with you every step of the way, from the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media. And folks, as I mentioned just a moment ago, as I had just mentioned, I want to apologize for our audio issues there at the very beginning, as qualifying just about wrapped up this evening, as we're going to see, looks like Dan Morgan coming out to make his qualifying effort. Our points leader, Eugenio Alonso, sitting atop the pile right now, who laid down a 30.45 second lap. He beats Gabriel Lafreniere, our neighbor from the north, by just 1/100th of a second, as Eugenio laid down a 30.45, while Gabriel laid down a 30.46. So 0.01 seconds as Nicholas Breidenbach out of Orlando, Florida, makes his return here to the Xfinity Series in the Nokia, and it looks like a Konica Minolta Bell South number 24 machine, of course not his traditional Navy machine. John Buwalda III also making his second start back here in the Xfinity Series in the number 51 Jack Dow Motorsports Chevrolet Camaro. He's out there in that throwback Kyle Petty look, as we've seen last week, as a matter of fact. Dan Morgan going 13th fastest on our leaderboard. Looks like John sitting here trying to just get himself settled in as we're going to go alongside here. He's going to cross the start-finish line on this first lap. We see him getting down here onto the asphalt. You don't want to get too high up. You don't want to get too far down. There is a happy medium on this racetrack. As he rolls out of turn 2 and down the backstretch, you can see he's going to lay that throttle all the way to the floor, not shifting down to third gear. Does John go as we roll out of 4 past our pit entrance, and as he gets ready to cross the start-finish line, we'll see where he goes on the leaderboard. 14th fastest. Phil Pappas here in his first night in the Xfinity Series from New Boston, driving the number 61 Mountain Dew machine. Once again, a nice black and green paint scheme here. Of course, this is one of the Batman paint schemes from when the Dark Knight had made its appearance. As Pappas goes 10th fastest, Nicholas Breidenbach getting P6 on his qualifying effort. Buwalda finishing 15th fastest on the leaderboard, and my very good friend, Mr. Matt Mettler, in the number 64 Ford Mustang. One of the only 4 Fords in the field tonight, as we are a Chevy-heavy league here. That Metallica paint scheme rolling off of pit road. Gets ready for his first lap here of qualifying. A big storyline tonight. I was just speaking with Joseph Lester before going on air this evening. And the boy king, Joseph Lester, battling an injury, a major injury too at that. He's got a walking boot on that right foot, so anything that we see out of him tonight is going to be limited at best. And even under such injury, the young man is sitting in 3rd position right now on the leaderboard. And in fact, right now we're going to try to get Mr. Lester down here. And the young man is not in Discord. Joseph, I don't know where you think you are, but I can't talk to you if you're not in Discord. That's all right. We'll get a chance here to speak with Mr. Mettler after he comes off the racetrack. Looks like Matt went 16th fastest on his first lap. He's going to come down the back chute here. 4, 3, 2, 1. Get into turn number 3. He's taking a little high. This is not going to be a good lap as he took that just a little bit too high. You want to stay on that light-colored asphalt as close to the line as you can, but he carries a lot of momentum out of turn 4, crossing the start-finish line and going 15th fastest, just ahead of John Bawalda. In fact, let's see if we can get a hold of Matt. Hey, Matt, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me.
Dave, loud and clear.
Hey, man, listen, good effort here on the qualifying run. Just 15th. Are you planning on just hanging in the back there and taking the old Dave Regal method there to just hiding?
I'm taking it's the beautiful day in the neighborhood approach. You hit the nail right on the head. As you know, it's been a couple weeks since I've made a start in this series. Competition always top notch. I don't want to be the guy in there to go stew it up, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to hang in the back, see what I got car-wise, and then as the race progresses, we'll try to move forward and march to the front.
Yeah, man, listen, I mean, this is going to be a survival race. I mean, right now, as it stands, it looks like we're going to have 19 getting ready to take the green flag. And right now, I've got to dive out of here and get ready to go set our starting lineup. So good luck tonight, and I'll chat with you in a little bit.
Sounds great, Dave. Have a great broadcast as always, sir.
I will do my very best just for you, sir. Drivers now in their cars and gridded up here for the warm-up session. And while we have a few minutes, we're going to stop in here with the boy king, Joseph Lester. Hey, buddy, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me.
Hey, buddy. How are you?
I'm better than you are. I'm not injured. I mean, listen, take us through this injury and what you're going to do tonight trying to get around this pace.
Well, right now, it's just in warm-up. I am laying in my bed with a blanket propping it up. It's more of a movement in my knee, with the boot now, but, it should be a new learning curve. I was surprised by the lap I put down in qualifying. And I'm excited to see what can happen.
Well, you know, and even checking in with dear old Dad here, it looks like your dad says that you do have some time for points tonight. And, of course, you know, you're one of the most talented drivers out here on the circuit. And, I mean, it looks like, you know, Dad says you're going to be one leg for a couple of weeks. But, you know, here's the thing. If there's anybody who I would put money on to still being able to finish top 10, it's got to be you, bud.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that. I don't know if we're looking at the top 10 tonight, but we'll see. I wish it was my left foot instead of my right foot if it were to be one of them, but it's my accelerator foot, so it's a little bit difficult.
That just means that the accelerator just lays on the floor. Just bury it. You know, it's a shame that we're not at like a super speedway where you can just lay on it.
Exactly. Came 1 week too late.
Right. All right, man. Well, listen, good luck tonight, and maybe we'll see you here on the other side.
Yeah, hopefully.
That, of course, the voice of Joseph Lester. Driver, the number 84 Chevrolet Camaro. He says that you got to turn left to go fast. That's for sure. And real quick, we're going to stop in with Chief Cook. Actually, we're going to stop up here with Eugenio Alonso, our points leader. Hey, Eugenio, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me. Eugenio Alonso, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me. Eugenio is focused heavily, quite obviously, on practicing here in the warm-up session. So we're going to have to switch out of there. Hey, Chris, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me.
I do.
Hey, man, listen, I was just talking to the boy king, Joseph Lester, a moment ago, and he's going to be driving one-legged tonight. And, of course, he's only got one good leg, and it's the left one. So take us through last night's Cup race. It was very exciting from what I hear, and it definitely makes things interesting coming into tonight.
It does. I did not have that great of a race throughout the entirety of the race, but I did wind up with a near a top 10 finish, which was nice to be able to to get that, and probably came at the expense of some others having issues at the end of the race. But you have to be there at the end to be able to get the finish that you want. So that's what I've tried to do, and this is definitely not one of my best tracks. Just will take any kind of finish around the top 10 when I come here.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a unique racetrack, low banking, short track itself. I mean, you're going to be starting pretty decent in the field tonight. So what are you thinking as far as strategy?
We'll see how long I maintain that track position, because last night I had track position inside the top 5 and lost it fairly quickly. There's a lot of guys here that are much faster, or may just want to use up more of their tires early on. But I think my main objective for tonight and for the rest of the season is just to keep the car intact and not make any mistakes myself, and try to be there at the end. And there will be some tracks coming up on the schedule that I have a legitimate chance of possibly getting a win.
I mean, listen, the win is something that's elusive even for our points leader, Eugenio. I mean, the man has raced 17 races this season with no wins. You're almost in the same boat, just one fewer race from when you were on vacation. But, I mean, you have a chance to move up here in the standings as you sit right now in 7th position. So, listen, looks like you're getting ready to grid up. We will chat with you later, my friend.
Okay, thanks, Dave.
And as we get ourselves gridded up here, we'll get Chris's beautiful mug off the screen, and we'll get that qualifying result up here as our drivers are finally getting into the cars for the moment that we've all been waiting for. As we get ready to go through our starting lineup, we want to take a look right here at Eugenio Alonso on the inside of row number 1. He is your pole sitter, beating out Gabriel Lafreniere by just 1/100 of a second, as Gabriel will start outside pole here on row number 1. Row 2 made up of Joseph Lester and Mike Wright in the number 98 Ford Mustang. Row 3 made up of Brandon Minto and Nicholas Breidenbach. Zach Osborne and Zachary Vaughn, a pair of Zachs, make up row number 4, as Chris Claude and Phil Pappas going to make up row number 5. Row number 6 made up of Alexander Gangler and Ron Fitting, with Bennett Allen and Dan Morgan in row number 7. Row number 8 has John Mawalda and Matt Metler, with Steve Herring and Rich Jett making up row number 19. Starting shotgun on the field is McAdoo, Pennsylvania's very own Mr. John Wilco in the number 62. Chevrolet Camaro going to pull up our race information as we get moving tonight. No, we won't, as it does not want to get up here onto the screen. But we're going to take a look right now as we get ready to start 200 scheduled laps tonight. Stage 1 going to end at lap number 45 at the conclusion of lap number 45. Stage 2 going to end at the conclusion of lap number 80. Drivers going to be given 5 total sets of tires, lane 4. So we should be looking at just about 30 to 45 laps per set of tires. So obviously that's going to be a factor tonight, and something that we saw earlier today in the real life Cup races. Tires are going to be a factor no matter what happens out here on the racetrack, especially with once we get into that 20 to go window. As the iRacing.com pace car lights turn out, want to take yet another look here at this field moving through. 19 cars scheduled to take the green flag, so that should keep the racing pretty interesting, giving a lot of real estate here on the racetrack. So maybe not as much bumping and banging as we've seen in some of the other series here on iRacing.com. As they get ready to come into turn number 3 after coming down the backstretch. The iRacing.com pace car leading the field down into the turn 3-4 complex. And just as we wait for them to come out of turn 4, the iRacing.com pace car diving down pit road. The man in the stand has the green flag in his hand. Ladies and gentlemen, grab some popcorn, call a friend, settle in, because we are green flag racing at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Eugenio Alonso leads the field down on turn number 1 as we drift through here. Looks like Eugenio getting a good run over top of Joseph Lester in number 84 Barbie Chevrolet. 3 Chevrolet bow ties atop the pile here from Alonso, Lafreniere, and 50. Tuesday night switches to the Chevrolet on a Monday night. Mike Wright trying to put a little pressure here as he forces Lester to the low side. Side by side goes Brandon Minto and Zach Osborne. Side looking for some kind of an entry here that he can maybe dive down and move some of this momentum. We are now on lap number 2 here in the Crown 200 of the A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance Xfinity Series right now on Racing Media at YouTube.com. Make sure if you haven't done so already, make sure that you subscribe to SRM right here. As it looks like Alexander Kennedy giving us his traditional shout out. Right now, we just had the fastest lap of the race, down by Gabriel Lafreniere, 30.02 seconds, which was actually a little bit faster than Eugenio Alonso. Looking a little bit further back here through the field, trying to find where these battles are breaking out. We see Chris Claude in the number 10 Dasani Toyota Supra, chasing down Zachary Vaughn, but nothing doing just yet. As we take a look here at the battle for 8th. And now side by side goes the 8 car. That's Alexander Gangler. As we see Brandon Minto battles all in the field. This is the battle for 13th position. Because right now, iRacing time and scoring having a hard time figuring out which is most exciting. I'll tell you what, folks, this is the driver to watch. Of course, Joseph Lester, as we had talked about just a little bit ago, driving with an injured right foot. Of course, that's his throttle foot. So all night long, he's going to be dealing with some really interesting pain. As we take a look back here at Nicholas Breidenbach, the battle for 4th. He's being chased down now by Zachary Osborne. Zach Osborne on the inside left quarter panel. Open here. He takes the high side. Breidenbach going a little bit low. Breidenbach able to use that momentum to swing out as well. Lap number 6 here. Osborne getting a run out of turn 2, now chasing down the rear of Breidenbach. And this battle just heating up as Breidenbach now in this battle for 5th, I'm sorry folks, closing into 16th of the second. 0.16 down. And you know, you see all of that going on, and all of a sudden, entering the screen is Brandon Minto as we are under caution. Looks like Rich Jett involved. We'll take a look. Taking a look here at Rich Jett in that 77 Steve Betts Chevrolet, looking inside John Waldo. They are side by side. Just as we see them into 1, but Waldo goes high and just comes across the nose of Jett. Jett wants to start this, but he manages to scoot away with limited damage there on the 77, so maybe not necessarily a bad deal. As we come back live, as we get ready to rack stack and attack all over again. Eugenio Alonso, Gabriel Lafreniere, Mike Wright, Joseph Lester, and Nicholas Breidenbach going to be your top 5. 3 cars choosing to come down pit road in the form of Alexander Gangler with a little bit of some scuffage there on the outside wall, outside door panel of the 8 machine. John Buwalda in a similar paint scheme with similar damage, and Rich Jett probably very frustrated here as Steve gets us right there. He's going to roll off a pit road before any of them go down a lap, so that's a fortunate beginning for them as Eugenio Alonso leads this field here on lap number 9. The iRacing.com pace car lights are out as we get ready to move down the backstretch here as he brings the drivers out of turn number 2. Still 19 cars active and here on the lead lap. That's something just to be thankful for in itself. And I mean, take a look at this beautiful countryside here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway as we're going to get ready to go back green flag racing. Of course, a nice quiet New Hampshire countryside view right up until that green flag waves and we're back underway as the iRacing.com leads them out of turn 4. He makes the hard left turn down pit road, and all of a sudden, just like that, we enter the Geico restart zone. We can see the front end of Eugenio Alonso's Chevrolet lift up off the ground, and we're back underway. In the 15 B-Race Vintage Camaro. As we are side by side looking for whatever is about to transpire for this as right now we're taking a look at Brandon Minto here over top of Bennett Allen in that JCTV broadcasting Camaro as Allen looks to be trying to gain here on Brandon Minto. He's got the run here into turn 3 and tries to secure the spot. He obviously stayed in the throttle just a little bit longer to get that run over top of Minto. What a run it was there, side by side. Out of turn 13, and it's still a hot and heavy battle as Minto got a run out of 4. Now it's almost like Vaughn is going to be holding up. Ooh, loose gets Bennett Allen, and that will end that battle for the time being. Now enter Chris Claude, who's got a run here on the rear of Bennett Allen. Of course, not necessarily teammates, but in the same discipline of sequence. It looks like Claude Wilco is up 7 positions already so far. That's your biggest mover of the evening there in the 62. Phil Pappas down 3 from where he had qualified, but it seems like, oh, the 3 getting loose coming out of turn 2. That's Ron Fitting. Let's take a look back here and see what happened with Ron. As he came out of 2, he could not corral that machine back the way that it had to be. And we're just going to see that rear end step out on him on exit, but he keeps it moving forward and manages not to drag anybody else into that mess. And believe me, that is a blessing in and of itself, especially in a race like this, so long as we are at lap number 15, about a third of the way through stage number 1. I'm Dave Riegel here in the Sim Racing Media broadcast booth. Welcome in here to the Xfinity series on YouTube.com. Looks like we're going to have a battle for the lead as Eugenio Alonso and Mike Wright going at it hot and heavy. Side by side they go as Mike Wright looking to the inside of Alonso, who has not been able to seal the deal all season and capture a checkered flag, a bunch of top 5s and a bunch of top 10s, but still has yet to visit victory lane in the 2023 season. Mike Wright getting underneath Alonso, finally wedging his way around Eugenio. As Eugenio hung out to dry on the outside, not able to get down there to move that machine into the turn as easy. And your new race leader, Mike Wright, who was the Pied Piper of the Xfinity Series most of last season, now takes away the lead from Eugenio Alonso. 17 laps complete of 200 here, working our way toward lap number 45 thereof, as that will end stage number 1. Look back here from the field, as once again we see Zach Osborne here chasing down Nicholas Breidenbach. Just about a quarter second between these two cars as they come to the turn. We'll see if we can't get a look here from the blimp. As you can see, Osborne chasing down Breidenbach. That gap suddenly getting bigger. It's almost like Breidenbach knew that he was there and wanted to put some distance between the two of them, at least another tenth of a second. And, you know, sometimes if you're not really using up your race car and not really burning up those tires, you can save that. You can make a few adjustments and maybe just use that little bit of extra to put yourself in a safer distance. Of course, we can see here on that rear deck lid of the 24 the Nokia logo. Not too many people carrying a Nokia phone anymore. In fact, I don't know anybody with one. But something tells me I'm about searching for that phone and maybe a new faceplate for it. By the end of this race, right now, though, Zach Osborne falling behind, just behind him, in the three-way battle in the second position, as Brandon Minto, the meet between the Bennett Allen and John Sandwich. And I'll tell you what, there's a driver that I wouldn't want to see in my rearview mirror, and it's Bennett Allen. He is the kind of driver that will just wear you out, trying to match you step for step, and eventually you're going to make a mistake and he's going to capitalize on it. As we can see here in the JCTV 1015B Blaze vintage from Chattanooga, Tennessee, turning laps here of the Stacy Strong Cup Series, right here, of course, on Sim Racing Media every Sunday night. Chris Claude from Fairview, Tennessee. And just as I had mentioned there, every Sunday night is, of course, Cup Series racing right here on Sim Racing Media. You can join my good friends, Mr. Matt Metler. Of course, Matt right now running in 18th position. And my brother from another mother, Tony Trapasso, as they bring you all of the action every Sunday night in primetime right here on Sim Racing Media. And folks, if you haven't done so already, make sure that you subscribe, turn on those bell notifications so that you can get a notification every time we go live here for the Lock Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance Xfinity Series every Monday night. Of course, tomorrow night we will not have truck races. The trucks are off this week. Just one broadcast for yours truly this week here. As we take a look back through the field, Bennett Allen starting to make a little bit of a move here on Brandon Minto. Watch these two drivers. As about 0.2 seconds separate. And Bennett just matching him step for step. Let that gap widen out to 0.3. All of a sudden, I saw John Wilco starting to make a move. Sorry, not John Wilco, but Phil Pappas, as Phil Pappas works around Chris Claude, putting Chris Claude back into 11th position. As there's about 2 laps to go here in stage number 1. Bennett Allen now working the low side of Brandon Minto. You can see that Minto trying to hold Bennett Allen off is proving to be more challenging than he had expected. Allen gets the run here into 3 and 4, and as he rolls out of 4, back toward the front stretch, he's going to have the advantage. He's going to slide right up in front of Brandon Minto. He crossed the start-finish line in 8th position, up 5 from where he had begun. John Wilco still your big leader hunter. Back here in 12th position after starting shotgun on the field. He's out here logging laps and making sure that he gets it done right, which is going to be the key to getting to the end of this race. Meanwhile, our injured driver, Joseph Lester, running in 3rd position where he had qualified, holding off Gabriel Lafreniere, who had started outside pole. Gino Alonso now trails Mike Wright by about 0.8 of a second, almost 8 points. As Mike Wright is out here getting ready to run that clinic that we saw so many times last season, in the 2022 season, that fresh market Ford Mustang, powered by Ford Performance, is just unstoppable once he hits that clean air. And, you know, Mike is such a humble guy, too. I mean, even with 20 laps to go here in stage 1, he's still going to, he's kind of like Nick Saban. The Alabama Crimson Tide can go out there and beat somebody 75-3. Saban comes to the podium at the end during the press conference and says, yeah, listen, we didn't play our best football. But why? Because you allowed 3 points? That's how Mike Wright feels every week. Unless he has a perfect car and a perfect race, leading flag to flag, he's not happy with himself. And, it shows every week as he hones this craft. I mean, and look at him, too. This wheel is just absolutely perfect in his hands as we go inside the cockpit. We can see his hands just absolutely at ease. Not too much grip going on right now. Mike Wright definitely not fighting this race car at all, which, in so many forms, we see that so many other times, throughout a race. And I mean, a lot of drivers we're going to see trying to hold that wheel, and even floating just behind Eugenio Alonso out of Buenos Aires. I'm sure that if we go inside the cockpit here, he's going to be a little loose. He's always got a loose race car going on here. Actually fighting a little bit of a tight condition as he's drifting up the racetrack. And now, getting loose coming out of 2, as we can see, had to turn right to go left. Is Eugenio Alonso. But, if there's any more of a talented driver on the racetrack, I challenge you to find him or her. As right now, Zach Osborne looking to continue to do battle with Bennett Allen here, as Osborne now, the 15 and the 16, running in 7th and 8th. 6th and 7th, I'm sorry. As Bennett Allen off Zach Osborne, number 31. Just one caution for cause so far this evening as Allen gets loose coming out of 2 down the backstretch. He's not flapped one bit as he dives back into 3, gets off the field. Some of that after out of the exhaust as he lets out. Not out yet, but still doing heavy battle here on lap number 32. At this point, one of the closer battles on the racetrack, another one being Phil Pappas chasing down Brandon Minto, as Minto is now down 4 positions from where he began. So obviously, Minto not happy with the race car. And maybe something going on with that race car as Brett White rises. Mountain Dew Chevrolet Camaro looking to the inside now of Brandon Minto, as Minto going to cede another position to another driver in the form of Phil Pappas, as Pappas going to get the run here, and we're going to watch him dive down into turn number 3. We're going to see Minto get off the throttle, Pappas get the run, and now they're side by side coming through 3 and 4 as they roll out of 4. It looks like Minto able to get on the throttle just a little bit sooner, but the shorter distance going to go to Pappas as they almost too close to call. Minto still having the edge. Pappas now getting a little bit more of a run here into 1 and 2, and once again coming out of 2, going to be Minto with another run. He muscles his way alongside of Pappas as they aren't done yet. Pappas once again with a run here. So it's almost like Pappas is better on the entry to each turn than 1 and 3. But Minto, not able to hold him off any longer. Right now, the story of the leader belongs to Mike Wright, as he is now up by about a second and a half over Eugenio Alonso, who's now doing battle with Joseph Lester, and even one-legged Lester is still up here competing at one of the highest levels, as he gets another run here to the rear of the 86. This league, of course, as I had mentioned, Chevy heavy, as just 4 Ford Mustangs and 1 Toyota Supra. Everybody else at 4, 3 is 7, 12 Chevrolets make up the rest of the field. Something going on with Alexander Gangler as he is off the pace and now down a lap. Take a look right now at Zachary Vaughn as we're about to have a 3-way battle, 4-way battle here. Someone in right position. Brandon Minto holding on to that final top 10 spot. Is Alexander Gangler going to be the lucky dog when we have our next caution, whether that's the competition caution for the end of stage 1 or a caution for cause? Phil Pappas patiently getting through the field as he now looks the inside of Zach Hall. Zach Hall should hold off Pappas for yet another lap as Minto is now down 5 positions. So as many positions as John Wilco has gained, Brandon Minto has almost lost as many as that, as he's down 5 and Wilco is up 7, as McAdoo, Pennsylvania's favorite son here drives his number 62 lap to lap, not flapping one bit, as he's just about a second off the pace being set by Mike Wright. Actually less than a second off of Mike Wright, so still making some hay here on lap number 40. Two laps complete as we are in the twilight of stage number 1. Mike Wright, your race leader, with nearly a 2-second lead over Eugenio Alonso. Eugenio running second position now, just ahead of Joseph Lester, who's behind him by about half a second, 43 in the books right now. Gabriel Lafreniere from St. Jude running in 4th position. Nicholas Breidenbach in 5th. Bennett Allen in 6th. Zach Osborne in 7th. Phil Pappas still making hay as he is now battling it out with the 91. That's Zachary Vaughn. They're going to be side by side coming out of turn number 4. Final lap of stage number 1 as Mike Wright crosses the start-finish line. In just a few moments here, he runs over top of the tunnel turn as we are on the final lap. Gabriel Lafreniere still battling it out with Joseph Lester. Ninth position still contested as Phil Pappas has gotten around Zachary Vaughn. Mike Wright about to cross the start-finish line as he will cross the start-finish line, winning stage number 1. They're not done yet back here. Phil Pappas and Zach Osborne side by side out of turn number 4. Pappas looking well, crosses the start-finish line. He secures 8th position. Brandon Minto coming across concludes stage number 1. And of course, stage 1's winner, Mr. Mike Wright, followed by Eugenio Alonso, Joseph Lester, Gabriel Lafreniere, Nicholas Breidenbach, Bennett Allen, Zach Osborne, Phil Pappas, Zach Vaughn, and Brandon Minto. And right now, we're going to take a moment to check in with our stage 1 winner. That is Mike Wright. Hey, Mike, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yes, how's it going?
I mean, it's going good for you right now. I mean, you took the lead away from Eugenio and refused to give it back, even under duress. I mean, you had just a little over 2 seconds between you and Eugenio. How are you feeling tonight as you've moved into this race?
Doing okay. It's a hard track to pass at, no matter how fast your car is. You just got to have a lot of respect for everybody around you, which so far has been okay. So hopefully we'll keep that going the rest of the night. And it's all about the long run, getting it to turn in the middle and get the throttle down. So.
Well, and I know historically your car setups are usually designed for the long run, so obviously that is playing into your normal hand of cards tonight. You know, as we get ready for caution pit stops here, I mean, are you going to be making any adjustments to the 98, or is she handling okay for now?
Oh yeah, I think it's always helpful to do a few changes, even if it's going really good on the setup. You got to find the limit of it. So take the first opportunity or two to find the limit, and then once you find it, bring it back, and hopefully you end on it on a good note by the end.
Close battle coming off of pit road between yourself and Eugenio. Eugenio obviously set up for the short run as you smoked him about midway through stage number 1. So we're going to be looking forward to more battling between you and Eugenio. Good luck the rest of the way, and I'm sure that we'll see you at some point later here on the race.
That's usually a good thing if we do that. So let's plan on it.
It's a date. All right, my friend. I'm going to send you on back up here to Ferta Motorsports. And next up here, we're going to see if we can get a hold of Eugenio Alonso. Hey, Eugenio, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me. Well, that's 2 strikes now for Eugenio, as both times I tried to speak with him. Now 1 more. I think we've got time for.
I can hear you, Dave.
Oh, there you are, Eugenio. Hey, buddy, listen, a tough battle here for stage 1. You know, what are you looking forward to as we get ready to go into stage 2? Well, the iRacing.com pace car still leading us around. So see if we can find the boy king. Well, unfortunately, Eugenio must be having some kind of audio problems for himself, but hopefully we'll be able to get that rectified until later in this race as we get ready to rack stack and put it on again. Mike Wright and Eugenio Alonso are going to be on the front row. Joseph Lester and Gabriel Lafreniere, row 2. Row 3 made up of Zach Osborne and Bennett Allen. Nicholas Breidenbach, Zachary Vaughn, Phil Pappas, and Brandon Minto make up your top 10 as the iRacing.com pace car is going to bring us down the back chute. iRacing.com pace car dives down pit road, and as we get ready to cross the start-finish line, we enter the Geico restart zone. Mike Wright controls the field, and we're back underway at lap number 51. This time we're going to be working our way toward lap number 90. Side by side goes Eugenio Alonso and Joseph Lester. Joseph, of course, battling that foot injury, able to still get it done. Sliding up in front of Lester with 3 wide behind him. That's Gabriel Lafreniere, Benny Evans. Looking to the inside of Allen. Osborne looking to the inside. Allen chooses to stay behind instead as Nicholas Breidenbach getting ready to work over Zach Vaughn. Once again of Zach Vaughn. They're doing battle pretty cleanly so far this evening. And all of a sudden, Vaughn gets a run. Right now, your fastest lap here of the segment, 30.75 seconds, belongs to Eugenio Alonso's. Obviously, he does have that short run speed. And of course, Mike Wright does not want to see it early on. Mike Wright, we have about 3/4 of a second over top of Joseph Lester. Eugenio Alonso running in third. Gabriel Lafreniere running in fourth. Bennett Allen in top 5. Of course, all of those drivers who finished in the top 10 during our last stage, they will be awarded bonus points. Of course, 10 points to first place, all the way through 1 bonus point to 10th. As Phil Pappas trying to chase down Rich Jett. And a battle starting for Blue now with Dan Morgan chasing down John Wilco as Wilco up 7 positions. Bennett Allen up 8 and Dan Morgan up 7. So most of these drivers going in the correct direction. Alexander Gungler right now running very fast running spot here. Must be having some kind of a problem with the 8 machine. We'll have to check in with him, as I'm sure as soon as I mention his name. He usually chimes in here on our YouTube.com live chat. So we'll have to find out what's going on with the 8 machine. Mike Wright, Joseph Lester, Eugenio Alonso, Gabriel Lafreniere, and Bennett Allen, your top 5. We're going to step aside here and pay some bills. At Sim Racing Media, I'm Dave Riedel. This is Monday Night NASCAR's A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance Xfinity Series live on Sim Racing Media. Series brought to you by A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance is working lap number 64 of 200. Working our way toward lap number 90 for the conclusion of stage number 2. Mike Wright leads Joseph Lester, the boy king who's currently battling an injury, driving with just one leg. Of course, it's got to be his throttle like it's injured. But obviously, he's able to lay it out. Next, no problem. Gio Alonso Rosales running third. Sam Judes, Gabriel Lafreniere, our neighbor from the north, running in fifth. And Bennett Allen out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, running in fifth position. Right now, folks, we're going to let you turn it up here on Simply Speed. working the back 73 of 200 here in Loudon, New Hampshire. Of course, Loudon originally named for John Campbell, who was the first John Campbell, who was originally the 4th Earl of Loudon, a Scottish soldier and leader of the British military forces here in North America during the French and Indian War. Something that's always kind of captured my mind here is in New England, and we are under caution as Rich Jett has gotten himself into a situation here. Let's take a look. We see Rich Jett running all alone right here as he comes down the front chute. Diving into one, I'm betting we're going to see him get loose here on the exit of 2. You can see that car violently bouncing on the way out. And there it is. Ooh, that will do it for him. Right there. Down the backstretch. So with that, Rich Jett going to be cycled back here to the rear of the field. He is most definitely going to be going down laps. Mike Wright going to be none too happy, as now all of that work that he had put in to stay ahead of this group now going to be accordion right behind him. But anyway, Loudon had also, so one of the interesting things here is that in New England, we look at some of the beautiful countryside, we look at some of the nice scenic cities and cityscapes, if you will. But once upon a time, this was a bloodbath of military excitement, that's for sure. As, of course, the 4th Earl of Loudon had helped to form a company of colonial militia called Rogers Rangers, who were attached to the British Army during the French and Indian War. And one of Lord Loudon's aides, John Loudon McAdam, invented a new process called macadamizing for building roads, a little more durable and less money than sewer-based roads. Obviously, macadam or asphalt, as we get to see here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, plays a big factor in the economy of Loudon, New Hampshire. As basically this is a sleepy little town right up until something is going on here at the racetrack. As we come into turn 3, the iRacing.com pace car lights are out, which means that we'll have green flag racing in just a moment. 18 of 19 cars out here on the racetrack. As we see the man in the stand with the green flag in his hand, we enter the Geico restart zone. Mike Wright hits the loud pedal, and we're back under the road. Mike leads this field 4 turns 1 and 2 as we a three-way battle here with Chris Claude on the high. Oh, Chris Claude buying a piece of wall. Chris, that's concrete and safer barrier, not granite, as we are here in the granite stand. Ron Fitting now dropping back to 14th position after qualifying in 12th. Fitting gets John Bawalda in front of him as Bawalda on 3 positions from the field. Going to take a look back here and see what might have happened with John Bawalda. See Bawalda doing battle with Dan Morgan here in the 72. You see the rollout and Walton getting tight. Oh. I don't know what on God's green earth that move was, but it was definitely not something that anybody wanted to see. Let's take a look at this from a different perspective. Looks like a shot up in front of Wood. And we'll see if our chopper cam caught that, and I'm fairly certain that it did. As we come down the front chute, we can see the Wallman. For reasons I'm not quite sure, I'm coming up into Dan Morgan, making contact, getting himself turned around, facing the wrong direction. So maybe a little bit of bad blood there between those two drivers with just 10 laps to go in stage 2. See if we can find who's running race control this season. Looks like it's going to be Alex Prince, and normally the driver, the number 19 at Sunday Night NASCAR action. Hey, Alex, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me.
Yeah, I got you, Dave. How are you doing?
I'm all right, but race control may be a little busy right now as business seems to have picked up for you. What was your ruling there on the Bawalma incident?
I know they were having a little bit of problems back and forth a lap or two before that, up to that point, and I'm not sure. It almost looks like the 51 forgot to turn. I'm not sure if the 72 decided to turn a little early, so we're gonna have to talk about it afterwards.
You know, race control, one of the thankless jobs in all of motorsports. Of course, thanks to this, that's going to cycle up Joseph Lester, injured or not, into our race lead. I mean, you know, I'm sure that you've heard by now that Joseph's driving with just one leg tonight. And of course, the bum leg is the throttle foot. So the young man's out here trying to power through it. I mean, what do you think so far of this race?
Race is going good, and Joseph's definitely a man. Yeah, I've kind of been where he is. I know the pain he experienced in that situation, and I can't imagine sitting there driving with the other foot, moving yourself around a little bit. I know you try to stay as still as possible, but you still move around. Is just instinctively you move. So it's got to be painful.
Painful is probably an understatement. I mean, I think it was a Martina McRae. So his left foot on her accelerator, rear view mirror torn off. I bet that's the way that Joseph's feeling right about now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, man. Well, listen, have fun over there in race control, and I'll be over here in the broadcast booth. Good luck the rest of the way. Have a good night.
All right, you too, man. Take care.
Race control, one of the thankless jobs in all of the iRacing service. I mean, you know, those guys are there trying to make calls in real time, and we can sit and look at, 3 or 4 different replay clips of it. They have to be able to make a decision before they go back green flag racing. Right now, Joseph Lester, choosing the outside row, has control of the field. I would say his foot hovering just above the loud pedal. Let's see if he can get a jump over top of Alonso. He does, and we can see the suspension on this thing drop back, lifting the front end, and we are back underway as Joseph Lester on lap 84 racing Alonso, fighting it out behind him with Bennett Allen just behind as Allen gets loose coming out of turn 2, going back action. That's going to allow Alonso a little bit of grace right now, coming into turn 3, putting some distance between himself and Allen's still battling it out with Nicholas Breidenbach. Of course, Orlando, Florida's very own Breidenbach in that Bell South Chevrolet. I gotta be honest, it's been a long time since I've seen Bell South side by side goes Allen and Bryden. What for third position. Bonus points on the line after Bryden missed several weeks, of course, in this season. He is looking for every kind of opportunity he can to claw himself back up to the conversation. And right now, Breidenbach doing battle with Zach and Vaughn. Of course, a bunch of fresh tires mixed in here, including Mike Wright, who's going to be cycled toward the top of the field once we come to the end of stage 2. 5 to go in stage 2 as we're working our way toward lap number 90. Zach Vaughn now looking to the inside of Breidenbach. Breidenbach not flapped one bit as we take a look right here from our zoom. You can see them side by side in 1 and 2. They're still trying to figure out how to get around Bennett Allen. As now we're going to have a 4-car battle as Mike Wright enters the picture. The hammer and tong is going to be out shortly here for stage 2 bragging rights. As Mike Wright just laid down the fastest lap of this race at 30.75 seconds. 3 wide down the front chute. 4 wide into turns 1 and 2. That's Zach Vaughn in the middle. Mike Wright not afraid though as he's getting ready to battle it out with Bennett Allen on those fresh tires. And Mike Wright is usually set up for the long run as he's going to position himself just ahead of Bennett Allen, putting Eugene Alonso in the crosshairs. With when we come across the line, it's going to be 2 to go to the end of stage number 2. Mike Wright and Eugene Alonso not ready to put it away just yet as they are side by side in 3 and 4. Mike Wright looks to go take down the boy king in the 84 Barbie machine. As they cross the start-finish line, the final lap of stage number 2 is underway. Mike Wright looking to the outside of Joseph Lester. He almost makes contact with Lester, loosens him up, and sends him up to the high side of the track. Lester now having to hold off as they are now going to be duking it out with their cars. That sends Lester up to the high side, bringing Mike Wright here back to the stripe. Notice on the start-finish line, Mike Wright will hit stage number 2. Joseph Lester with almost looks like a double strike down the side. We'll be finishing P5 as we are under caution. Your stage 2 winner going to be Mike Wright, followed by Eugenio Alonso, Gabriel Lafreniere, Joseph Lester, Bennett Allen, Zach Vaughn, Nick Breidenbach, Chris Claude, Zach Osborne, and Brandon Minto, your top 10 drivers being awarded bonus points. We're going to see if we can get in touch now with Mike Wright, as we almost thought we were going to chat with Joseph Lester. And I'm sure we will momentarily, but let's see if we can get Mike Wright here in the broadcast booth. Hey, Mike, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
I do. Hello.
Well, you weren't ready to put the hammer and tongs away here on the final lap of stage 2, and obviously serving a little bit of lunch there to Joseph Lester. What a move there at the end.
Yeah, none of it was intentional. Just faster tires and him trying to do his best to hold off. And 1 and 2 there, I was trying to get to the outside, and he kind of drifted up in front of me enough that I tried to cut it to the bottom. We did a little bumper tag there, and then on the entry to 3, it just felt like to me on the inside of the car, it felt like he was pinching me on the entry, and it popped up as an incident, but I didn't feel it. So I don't know if that means we truly hit or net code or what. You're watching it, so you'll know.
I mean, look, it looked like you made some kind of contact, but not serious contact. You know, sometimes I think iRacing gets a little bit too sensitive, shall we say? You know, where you look at it and think, oh, that was hardly a bump, and all of a sudden you've got a 4X. Yeah.
So, like I said, from the inside of the car, the 1 and the 3, I didn't even really feel anything. I know I got him in the bumper and won just because he kind of got in front of me there as I was getting back to the throttle some. So in the end, hopefully he came out okay with that, with any of that up the track into 3, and we can keep going and have some more fun.
Yeah, it looks like you and your cohorts here in the top 4 all last came down on lap number 80 for tires. Of course, everybody else coming down now on lap 92. So obviously that car set up for the long run, as you had spoken of earlier. And, you know, here we are going into stage 3. A little more than 100 laps you'll have to go once we go back green flag racing to the checkers. So what are you thinking here coming into 3?
I would say that if we can get through the first little bit of the restart here and get away from the cautions, pre-caution stuff, I would expect a long run. So if we get that, the tires with the track position would probably even out at that point, and we'll all have the same tires for the end here, which is 2 sets, I believe, for everybody. So it'll be interesting to see. There's a couple different ways you could run the pit stop if it does green, and then of course cautions coming in always play a role in that too. So that's why we race. We don't know what's going to happen.
That's exactly right. Listen, that's what the best part of live sports, whether virtual or not, is. I mean, you know, something goofy can happen on the last lap, and all of a sudden you go from first to fifth. You know, so coming here into stage 3, that's what we're expecting to see. Something exciting and something that we may not have ever seen before. So good luck the rest of the way, and hey, who knows? You might pick up another checkered flag tonight.
Yeah, hopefully we get some good green flag runs, because I think it'll be interesting to see who can hold on to it for 50, 60 laps.
Absolutely. All right, buddy. Well, listen, good luck the rest of the way, and we will see you on the other side for sure, I'm sure.
All right, have a good one.
That, of course, Mike Wright, driver, the number 98 Fresh Market Ford Mustang, as we head back down, waiting for the green flag. You see the iRacing.com pace car bringing the field into turns 3 and 4 once again. Mike Wright choosing the high side, so obviously he wants to carry some speed, as that is the fast line for momentum. Pace car makes the hard left turn. Gabriel Lafreniere on the inside. Mike Wright enters the Geico restart, so it hits the loud pedal in the back of the line. Stage 3 is begun. Mike Wright has already opened up a half-second lead as he gets the jump over top of Gabriel Lafreniere, and Alexander Gangler, who has made a surprise appearance here in the top 5, coming in on lap number 80, has decided he wants to try to contend for the top 5. Looks like Gangler getting a little loose. He's going to shuffle himself out of the way while Eugenio Alonso goes side by side with Gabriel Lafreniere. Lafreniere getting the run out of turn 4. Crossing the start finish line here on lap number 97. As Zach Vaughn, all crinkled up and wrinkled like a piece of aluminum foil, still out here trying to make it happen. As he drifts up nearly in front of the nose of Brandon Minto, who's trying on his recovery drive to get back up into the top 5. I do appreciate all of the likes over there on Facebook. Of course, Mike Keller of 8:30 a.m. WEU Mornings with Mike. Glad to have you with us, buddy. Of course, Mike Keller, a local radio celebrity in Pennsylvania. Of course, here we are in the brand new Norristown, Pennsylvania studios of Sim Racing Media, and cannot be happier to be in this new setting. That's for sure. Much more comfortable setup in here. Here on lap number 99, just about to get to the halfway point, we're going to step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media. Going to have to break away from our commercial break as it looks like Alexander Gangler has gotten himself into an incident here at Loudon, New Hampshire. New Hampshire Motor Speedway, as he was working just over top of Ron Fitting in the number 3 Black Bullet Chevrolet. Of course, starting in the top 5 here for stage number 3 was White. Oh, and I would have lost that bet as he made contact here with Dan Morgan. So that's got to be frustrating for him, as we're going to see if we can get here to our turn 1 and 2 cam. As we see Mike Wright come into the frame, and all of a sudden, once that yellow car there is, there's the contact, that sends Wolf, the Gangler, up. Look at him. Definitely not the way that Gangler saw this night going. We're going to see if we can get a camera view from here in Dan Morgan's cockpit. Riding along with Dan Morgan on the inside. Oh, there he is. Dan just kind of gets him shoved out of the way, and that'll be the end of Alexander Gangler's run up here in the top 10. So on lap 103, just over halfway, Mike Wright, your race leader in the fresh market Ford Mustang, leads the way with Eugenio Alonso, Bennett Allen, Gabriel Lafreniere, and Joseph Lester joining him in the top 5. Hey, Alexander, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
I do.
Take us through what just happened there with the 72 car. It looks like you guys made contact, obviously, and sent you a spinning. What was going on?
Yeah, so, I mean, it kind of all started with the Cup race and most of the start of the Xfinity race here, where I kept getting around up the track by not just whoever hit me, but everyone else too. So I've started to hold my ground a little bit more, and of course the one time that I do, or actually both times that I actually do, I get caught in an incident. So it is what it is.
Yeah, you've definitely managed to shorten up the drag there on the rear of the car, of course missing the rear bumper and that rear clip there. All it's really hanging on there right now is the deck lid and spoiler. Obviously at this point now it's become a survival race.
Yep, we'll see what happens.
Listen, good luck with the green flag race. Mike Wright getting the jump. Alexander, I'm going to move you back up to the Discord channel. Mike Wright getting the jump over top of Eugenio Alonso. That's going to bring a little bit of room for Joseph Lester. As Lester gets himself to the inside here, we're going to switch back and forth from screen to screen. Lester sitting great spot. Bennett Allen, though, now making some hay here on the low side. Now he secures 4th spot with Zachary Vaughn in that wrinkled up Chevrolet on the low side, kind of being pinned down there. While Phil Thomas is making another charge here, the biggest mover of the night so far. McAdoo, Pennsylvania's very own John Wilco rolling out of turn number 4, back toward the start finish line for lap 107, up 10 positions on now. Eugenio Alonso unable to hold off Joseph Lester as Joseph not really satisfied with third position. As they're, oh no! Eugenio Alonso just nosed Joseph out of the way and spun him. Folks, that was something that could only happen live on this network. That's for darn sure, as we're going to see here coming into turn 3, or maybe 3 and 4, as we get ready to see them come into 3. Looks like Lester shuffling forward and just getting nosed out of the way by Eugenio. Going to take a look at this from the chopper cam now, as we're going to see Joseph sliding down in front of Eugenio. Eugenio now looking to the inside. Joseph kind of drifting down, not really coming off of his racing line. It almost looked like an attempted block that went horribly wrong for Joseph. In fact, we'll see if we can ride along with Eugenio for this next camera shot. As we see right here, Eugenio staying high. We see Joseph drifting up, Eugenio peeking to the inside, and Joseph coming back down one more time. As we're going to look from the rear bumper of Joseph Lester. Joseph get off the throttle, and we see Eugenio just drifting up and biting that rear bumper. And before we turn it back over, we want to take a look here from the cockpit cam of Eugenio Alonso. See whether or not he comes down. If Joseph does come down just a hair, and Eugenio doesn't look like he intentionally spun Joseph out, that's for sure. So just about 91 laps to go here, 90 as we cross the stripe. Going to be Mike Wright, Eugenio Alonso, Bennett Allen, Gabriel Lafreniere, Brandon Minto, Phil Pappas, Zachary Vaughn, John Wilco, Ron Fitting, and Zach Osborne. Joseph Lester now running in 16th position, comes down for pit service along with Alexander Gangler. Eugenio Alonso getting an end-of-line penalty. So he is going to have a long battle forward as he drops to the ground. That'll put him right next to Joseph Lester, who may not want to be lined up anywhere at the rear of the field. That will cycle Bennett Allen here to the inside of row number 1. Mike Wright with control of the field enters the Geico restart zone, hits the loud pedal. We watch the front end of that Mustang pick up off the ground like a charging pony off we go. Brandon Minto side by side with Gabriel Lafreniere, looking maybe for a three-wide battle. Zach Vaughn wants to get it. He doesn't. It's Lafreniere working the high side of Minto. This has been a great race so far here on Xfinity Series Racing, brought to you by a lot of property management and maintenance. I'm Dave Riegel here at the Sim Racing Media microphone. You're watching us live on YouTube.com and on Facebook. All the likes, support that we're getting from each of them. This county's very own Mike Keller from 8:30 a.m. WU. We're under caution yet again. Looks like this time we're going to be taking a look at Phil Pappas, as it took me just a minute to figure out what was going on here with this particular and making contact. That's Osborne there in the 16, doing a little pirouette. Somebody get Chris Claude a new set of underwear, because I'll tell you what, coming into that, it looked like he was probably not in such great shape. As we take another look at this, we see the contact between the 16 and the 61. And as Pappas is spinning around, Chris Claude locking him up and getting it woed down just before ending his car's evening. So, obviously, a rough go there for Pappas, who now has to restart in front of Chris Claude in the number 10 Dasani Toyota Supra. Drivers including Pappas, 77 of Rich Jet, and Alexander Gangler opted to come down for pit service, as the iRacing.com pace car lights remain on, so we will stay under caution. Pace car lights are off. That means that we will be going back green flag racing. Of course, race leader Mike Wright getting to choose once again. 117 is cautions breed cautions. We've said it a million times on every broadcast, it seems. And even here in the A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance Xfinity Series, we're no exception to the rule. As clean as these drivers generally are, sometimes, especially in that third stage of the race, once everybody's felt one another out, you know, tempers start to flare a little bit, drivers get a little bit more desperate and start making moves that maybe are questionable even on a good day. As the field gets bunched back up and ready to go back green flag racing, we'll go up here with the starter cam as we get ready to go back green flag racing. Mike Wright enters the Geico restart zone, and we're back underway. Mike Wright, your race leader, being followed right now by Bennett Allen, about 7/10 of a second back. Greensboro, North Carolina's very own Mike Wright in the fresh market number 98 Ford Mustang, chased down by Jack Dumas. Bennett Allen in number 15 JCTE Chevrolet Camaro. Gabriel Lafreniere, the 06 Oxmoor Beer Chevrolet Camaro. Running in third, Joseph Lester took the road from Damascus down up here to the north here in Loudon, New Hampshire. He's followed by Brandon Minto running in fifth position out of Norman, Oklahoma. Zachary Vaughn in the 91 1110 mods Chevrolet Camaro. Eugenio Alonso from Buenos Aires running in seventh. John Wilco from McAdoo, Pennsylvania, up 11 positions now, running in eighth. Bill Pappas in ninth, and Zach Osborne make up your top 10. I'm Dave Regal, and this is Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series Racing, brought to you by A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance, live here on simracingmedia.com, being broadcast on youtube.com from our Norristown, Pennsylvania studios, new and improved over our Conshohocken studios. Glad to have all of you in with us tonight. We're going to step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media as Mike Wright leads this field now by nearly 9/10 of a second. We're back here live at New Hampshire Motor Speedway in Loudon, New Hampshire. 133 laps in the books, and we are under caution after Ron Fitting and Matt Metler made contact coming out of turn 2. We'll take a quick run back here and look at it as we're going to see them coming out of turn 2. Looks like Fitting overturns his exit, keeps on rotating, and collects Metler going down onto the grass. And, of course, as soon as they go perpendicular to the racing surface, that brings out the caution, according to iRacing.com and the servers here. So, unfortunately for those two drivers, a little bit of contact can go a long way, as that's going to shuffle Mettler here into the lead for the moment, as we just had some wholesale pit stops here on lap 132. Everybody from Joseph Lester in third all the way back to Zachary Vaughn. Mettler and Gangler opting to stay out in front of this pack. Not sure if that's a wise decision. In fact, let's see if we can get a hold of old Matt. Hey, Matt, it's Dave up here in the booth. You got me.
Loud and clear, sir.
Well, I see that you and Gangler decided to stay out here and see what you can do in front of this pack. I mean, 15-lap older tires. What is your basically, I want to know what's going through your head.
Don't spin the tires, don't die. Pretty much right now. And kind of, am I liking this decision still? It wasn't a planned decision between Gangler and I, but hey, teammates on the front row, I'm going to enjoy it here for about a half lap or so, because I'm sure about to be speeding here. But still, being at the front, I'll take it.
Yeah, I got to say, you're about to have a Code Brown moment. I hope that you have a fresh set of underwear near you, because you're going to need it once the green flag drops. Obviously, You've been dipping your bill into the chicken cock whiskey. And there it is. Well, listen, I'm going to send you and your chicken cock on back into the Discord, but good luck, buddy. That, of course, the great Matt Mettler, one of the fine voices that you hear every Sunday night right here on Sim Racing Media as we get ready to go back. Green flag racing, the iRacing.com pace car diving down pit road. Mettler hits the Geico restart zone. We're back underway. We hear the thunder of these engines as all of a sudden Joseph Lester just takes the apron to jump in front of Mettler. Let's look at that once more, because that was just an impressive move from Lester, as we're going to see him alongside of Alexander Gangler. Just as they close the start finish, Lester gets a run and decides to take those cold tires down on the apron and passes Mettler and Gangler, and now secures away a 0.4 of a second lead over Gabriel Lafreniere and Mike Wright. Mike Wright is looking to the inside of Lafreniere, and we're under caution. Looks like John Wilco and Dan Morgan both involved in something here. We can see the 62 of John Wilco rolling out of turn 2, turn 4. Ooh, Morgan gets into the back of Gangler, and they just collect like nobody's business. We'll see if we can get this from the turn 1 entry, where they just were. And we can just see that they have unloaded. Just like a kid playing with their Matchbox cars, we wreck all at once. We can see that asphalt getting chewed up there, some of that grip disappearing out of the racetrack. As we are back under caution here on lap 139, Joseph Lester gets himself right up here into the lead, but unfortunately, the gap between himself and Gabriel Lafreniere now going to be even, so Joseph going to be relying on a good restart, and if the last restart was any indication, this young man is ready to drop the hammer with that busted foot. Stack back up here 2x2 to the arc. Goes our field as they come down the backstretch, led by the iRacing.com pace car, Joseph Lester and Gabriel Lafreniere on the front row, followed by Mike Wright and Matt Mettler. As Mettler holding on to that fourth position. Joseph Lester going to have control of the field as we get ready to go back green flag racing. Gabriel Lafreniere, meanwhile, going to be waiting for his cue to jump from Lester. Hitchcock restarts on the back of the way, and Lester gets just an amazing jump. And he is going to be chased down like a dog by Mike Wright. Mike Wright not satisfied running in second position as he wants to get out to that clean air. Of course, clean air having such a major factor in this racetrack, because once you're out there, you can kind of pick your line and stay with it. As right now, Mike Wright on the left rear quarter panel of Joseph Lester, looking for any kind of advantage. Gabriel Lafreniere on his inside. Now to the outside goes Lafreniere. That leaves the battle on the rear end of Mike Wright, but opens the door for, Eugenio Alonso. Drifting up in front of Mike Wright is Joseph Lester. As these cars come down into turns 3 and 4, Lester still holding his lead, being pushed along by Mike Wright, almost like they're drafting. Obviously, that foot started to give Lester a little bit of trouble as he drifts back up in front. This is all but blocking Mike Wright, who now makes his move to the inside. They make contact, but keep it moving forward. Mike Wright gets loose, but stays moving. There's still green flag racing. Now Joseph Lester having to hold off Eugenio Alonso. Alonso already having a dust-up with Lester earlier on in this race, makes the move and gets around Lester. It almost looks like Joseph let him by. As we get ready to go to the chopper cam, you can see this battle unfolding as Lester now looks to the inside of Mike Wright. I'm sorry, of Eugenio Alonso. And now they kind of decide to cool their jets a little bit here, as Eugenio Alonso takes a commanding lead of about 0.3 of a second over top of Lester. Mike Wright shuffled all the way back to 6th position, having a team battle now with, once again, his nemesis, Bennett Hamilton. As Bennett, one of those drivers, as I had mentioned before, going to hit his marks over and over again. Meanwhile, Gabriel Lafreniere holding off Zach Osborne, as Osborne heads down the back chute into turn 3, chasing that rear bumper of Lafayette. With our former race leader in stage 1 and 2 winner, Mike Wright. Mike Wright is on his recovery drive back to the front. Wright inside of Osborne and looking to see if he can get a 2-for-1 deal here at Loudon, New Hampshire, at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. You're watching the Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance Xfinity Series right here on Sim Racing Media. Dave Riegel in the Norristown, Pennsylvania studios. Bringing you all of the live action flag to flag right here on SRM. Glad to have you with us and making us a part of your evening. As Joseph Lester running second now to Eugenio Alonso, who has opened up 3/4 of a second over the young man from Damascus, Virginia. Mike Wright, meanwhile, not satisfied yet again as he is side by side with Gabriel Lafreniere. They come down the front stretch, all but side by side with Lafreniere having a little bit of an advantage, but getting the run on the inside on turn 1 is Mike Wright, and he puts the young man from Damascus, Virginia, right in the crosshairs as Lester gets loose coming out of 2. Side by side is Lafreniere and Wright. With 52 laps to go, 51 when we come to the stripe. It's not over yet, folks, as Mike Wright and Joseph Lester are getting ready to go hot and heavy here. Gabriel Lafreniere not willing to give up that third position, that coveted podium finish, as he's always after here in this league. Once again, contending with that injured foot is Joseph Lester, who dives it down here in turn 3, but not low enough to hold off Mike Wright. As Wright and Lester going at it hot and heavy now as Lester has the edge coming across the start-finish line, but now Mike Wright looking for any kind of a run he can get, as Lester going to have the advantage coming out of 2. What a run for this young man out of Damascus. And Greensboro, North Carolina's very own Mike Wright maybe goosing the throttle just a little bit to try to get an advantage, a little edge over Lester as Lester rolls it out of 4 once again, edge over top of Wright. Meanwhile, while all of this is going on, Eugenio Alonso has now opened up a 1.78 second lead over these two drivers. While they've been back here battling it out, using up their equipment, Eugenio's up here just logging laps, letting them duke it out behind him. As Lester now falls to Mike Wright and allows Gabriel Lafreniere to steal away third position. Mike Wright now setting his sights on Eugenio Alonso as he has battled his way into second position. Eugenio Alonso with a 1.34 second lead. We're going to keep it here on these two drivers. And you're going to see right here in the lower right-hand corner of your screen the battle box. As this battle for first, we're going to see that number there that Eugenio Alonso is leading by shrink ever so gently between himself and Mike Wright. 16 cars on the lead lap right now as Alexander Gangler, the last car on the lead lap. John Wilco would be the lucky dog if a caution should come out here on lap 155. About 45 laps to go when we come by this time here in New Hampshire. You see already where it was 1.2 seconds just a moment ago. Now Mike Wright taking those 2 seconds off, 0.2 seconds off, and Eugenio Alonso did not want to see this as the caution flag is flying. any of these drivers have tires left, now would be the time to take them. With 45 laps to go, we're going to see if Eugenio Alonso comes down pit road maybe to get that last set. He opts not to. As it looks like Chris Claude, Brandon Minto, and Matt Mettler all coming down pit road to use that last set of tires. Chris Claude coming down pit road, getting service. Looks like he got 4 tires. So he's going to have some of the freshest tires out here. That could bode well for him as long as he gets a good restart and doesn't overcook his equipment. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Eugenio Alonso still leading this piece as we're still single file waiting for the double file order from iRacing.com. You're watching the A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series live on SRM. Dave Riedel here at the microphone, bringing you all of the action as we take a look here at the Lennox advertisement on the outside wall of turn 1 and 2. Of course, fantastic plumbing tools from Lennox. Sylvania as well for all of your lighting needs. And the Jackdown Motorsports number 86 Chevrolet, driven by Buenos Aires native Eugenio Alonso, going to have control of where he decides to put the race car this time around as we get ready to go double file. Looks like Eugenio going to choose the top line. This is going to be an interesting restart here, folks, as two of our strongest drivers in Alonso and Mike Wright going to be starting side by side with one another. Of course, Alonso, your pole sitter, last coming down on lap 132. Wright last coming down on 132. With some of our fresher tires being in the form of Brandon Minto, Chris Claude, and Matt Mettler. No, I'm sorry, Alexander Gang. Pace car brings us into turn number 3. Eugenio Alonso's foot hovering just above the throttle, waiting for the command as he enters the Geico restart zone. Any second now we come out of 4. The pace car is off, and the racing is on. Alonso getting a jump over Lester and Wright. As once again, those two drivers, they go 3 wide behind him. Lafreniere, the 91 of Zach Vaughn, and the 15 of Bennett Allen. They're 3 wide down the back chute, looking for any kind of real estate. Meanwhile, Mike Wright leaves Lester in the dust as he's ready to do battle with leader Eugenio Alonso. They're more than shuffled out the way by Zach Vaughn. Zach and Zach show, but further back here, the 16 and 91 going at it. Eugenio Alonso getting a good run on exit out of turn 2, coming down the back chute. Being followed and more so pestered by Mike Wright. As Wright has been patrolling just behind Alonso. coming down the backstretch and into turn number 3. Alonso still holding off Mike Wright. Mike Wright may be willing to just kind of settle in back here and keep himself within striking distance of Eugenio Alonso. That should cool things off for now as Gabriel Lafreniere still doing battle behind him. He's about to make ends meet here with Phil Pappas. As Pappas rises from the Dude Chevrolet Camaro, holding his ground over top of the Oxmoor Beer Chevrolet. Operated by Gabriel Lafreniere, our neighbor from the north in Saint Jude. Bennett Allen getting shuffled to the outside. He's still alongside Brandon Minto. The Zach and Zach show not over just yet, as Lafreniere is still here on the inside, harassing that side door of Phil Pappas. Pappas holding his own right now as we've got a 4-car battle here for 6th position. Duking it out right now is Gabriel Lafreniere and Phil Pappas. As Pappas in the Mountain Dew machine, hitting his marks and not coming off of that line, that's for sure. So the only way that I can see Lafreniere getting around, Bennett Allen getting loose, and that will bring out the caution. We're going to take a look right here at the 15 machine. You see Bennett coming into 1. And he's all by his lonesome here, right in the middle of your screen. You can see that rear end just coming around, and Allen trying to hold it together. Gets himself sideways as the 89 of Steve Herring gets into him and turns Bennett around. Wholesale pit stops underway as that will shuffle Phil Pappas, Brandon Minto, Alexander Dangler, Chris Claude, and Matt Metler to the lead. Eugenio, and John Wilco getting in on the dance as well, as Eugenio Alonso, Gabriel Lafreniere, all of the other leaders coming down pit road. As it looks like Mike Wright going to beat everybody off of pit road. And that'll put Mike Wright in 7th position as the 6 cars in front of him last came down on lap 156, with the exception of Phil Pappas, who was down on 138. So Pappas obviously trying to see how far he can squeeze these tires and lead a lap or two. Chances are he's going to lead about 0.6 of a second before Brandon Minto and Alexander Dangler blow the doors off. Once again, I want to thank you for making us a part of your evening. If you haven't done so already, make sure that you subscribe to Sim Racing Media here on YouTube.com. You're watching Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series action, brought to you by A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance. I'm Dave Riedel here at the microphone. We're going to step aside and pay some bills here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Well, we had gone back green flag racing just a moment ago when this happened with Alexander Gangler. They went 3 wide as Eugenio Alonso was on the low side. Gangler's meat in this sandwich makes contact with teammate Matt Mettler, and all of a sudden it was just mayhem. Take a look at it from our chopper cam. And see once again the movement of sandwich is maybe a little bit of net code between Mettler and Gangler. As we're going to see if we can get right in behind Mettler. And maybe, I think we had yep, we did have the drone cam following Matt Mettler as he managed to come into this turn. And just as the drone cam was following him, we're going to see him drift right into his line. And you can see right there, they didn't make contact. But we can see at quarter speed, we can see exactly what might have just happened. No contact, but iRacing decided that contact was about to be made. And that spins Gangler out. So another caution this evening. As this is our 11th caution for cause. There were 9 cautions in the real NASCAR race today. So 11 here in the Xfinity Series, not completely unwarranted. But 26 laps to go when we cross the stripe this time by. Once again, we're going to try to step aside and pay some bills here at Sim Racing Media. just 23 laps to go. We are under caution all of a sudden. We just had a three-way battle for the lead here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway as Phil Pappas has brought out the caution this time. As we're going to take a look back here and see what happened with Phil Pappas. See him coming down almost across the nose of the 91. Zach Vaughn. And then drifting up. Oh, he makes contact with the 91 and goes a spinning. We're going to see if we can get our blimp cam up and running. As we take a look from our blimp camera, they go 3 wide. Pappas comes down, makes contact with the 91 of Zach Vaughn, bounces against the wall, and then collects Eugenio Alonso, who cannot be happy with that move as he has been contending all night long for the lead. That lead, of course, right now belonging to Brandon Minto, driver of the number 12 Upside Ford Mustang. One of just 4 blue ovals in the field tonight, all 4 still running, but one of them down laps, of course, that belonging to Steve Herring. So 3 out of those 4 in the top 10, as 2 of our Toyota Supras also running in the top 10. Chris Claude has clawed his way up into 5th position. We're going to see if we can get a hold of him right now. Chris Claude, who has clawed his way into the top 5 here in the number 10 Dasani Toyota. It's Dave up in the booth. He got me.
Yes, I do, Dave.
Well, sir, looks like you have once again, Mr. Consistency, your way up here into the top 5. How's that car feeling?
Surprisingly good. I usually do not have a car to be able to get around this track as well, but tonight I've been able to keep up and run not exactly as fast as the leaders, but not too far off pace either. I've always been able to see them plainly out of my windshield, which is more than I can say most of the time when I run here. And you know, I would have liked to seen the race stay green starting about lap 155. They had fresh tires and could have made it to the end, and the other cars decided not to take tires. I would have had an advantage. But with all these cautions and everything coming out, I seem to be gaining spots, 1 or 2 every time a caution comes out. So we'll see. It looks like a lot of the cars behind me are damaged or have been running more in the back. So you know, it'd be nice to be able to get a top 5 or better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, every week we talk about you being Mr. Consistency out here on the racetrack. You know, this may be your week to finally get up there and claw your way to the podium. So good luck the rest of the way. It looks like you've got teammate Matt Metler just behind you. So good luck, sir, and we'll see what happens.
All right. Thanks, Dave.
Going to send Chris back up to the Joe Gibbs Racing booth. Of course, Chris, the chief cook and bottle washer of Sunday Night NASCAR Cup Series action, brought to you by Stacy Strong. As we get that down. Joseph Lester going to be our race leader here as we get ready to go back green flag racing. Pace car diving down pit road. The end of the restart zone, Brandon Mitchell gets a jump over Lester. Brings along teammate Mike Wright. The Ferta drivers atop the pile now with Lester not settling for second position. As I'm betting, we're going to see him lay every chip out of the table while in here. Lester getting a run into 3 and 4 as he dives into 3. He's side by side with Mike Wright. right now it looks like door handle to door handle racing as Lester once again taking that advantage there as he has all night long forcing the Ferta drivers. Oh, he nudges Minto out of the way. Minto manages to keep it moving forward as, wow, Lester just muscled his way by the Ferta drivers to take the lead. Mike Wright on the rear bumper, getting ready to push Barbie out of the way. Nearly dirt tracking his way out of turn 2 down the backstretch is Joseph Lester as they come into turn 3. He has this car running hot and heavy, and right now Mike Wright looking for any kind of advantage he can get over the 84. And right now the only advantage it seems that he has is that Mike Wright has 2 working legs. Joseph Lester, making him check up just a little bit here coming into turn 3. Oh, they make contact and it sends Lester spinning, but he manages to keep it moving forward, pointed the right direction. As Lester getting loose coming out of 4 and on the front stretch, now being challenged by Zach Osborne for second position, as now they're going to do battle here for second. And another Ferta driver getting ready to pass Zach Osborne as Osborne holding off Brandon Minto. Oh, they make contact and Osborne goes down onto the infield. We stay, no we don't. We're under caution. Going to take a look at this up close and personal with Zach Osborne as it looks like he's got a run over top of Brandon Minto. He rubs the wall at probably the worst possible moment and starts to do a little bit of landscaping on that strip of grass down the backstretch. With 13 laps to go, it's all going to come down to this restart between Mike Wright and Joseph Lester, and Lester in a Ferta Motorsports sandwich. When we go back, green flag racing, it's going to be Mike Wright, Joseph Lester, Brandon Minto, Eugenio Alonso, Chris Claude, Zach Osborne, John Buwalda, Phil Pappas, Zachary Vaughn, and Matt Metler, your top 10. 10 laps to go. Mike Wright, going to have control of the field, has taken the inside lane choice here, as Joseph Lester going to be on the outside. That sets Brandon Minto up to be behind Mike Wright and defend. So as long as Mike Wright and Brandon Minto get a good jump, Joseph Lester here in third position. The iRacing.com pace car lights are out. We're going to see one more time as we get ready to go here. The man in the stand changes the yellow to the green flag. The iRacing.com pace car coming out of turn 4, making that hard left turn down pit road. We enter the Geico restart zone and we're back green flag racing. Mike Wright gets the jump on top of Joseph Lester, but does not get the help that he needed from Brandon Minto, as Minto and Lester make contact going into turns 1 and 2 as they make the exit out of 2. Lester a little loose on those older tires. Lester coming down on lap 166, 9 laps to go now. It's Gregory Woods finally in our YouTube.com live chat cheering on Joseph Lester, as Lester has been shuffled back to third position as we expected. Brandon Minto running in second, as Lester now moving on Zach Osborne and Eugenio Alonso, as both of those drivers have had successful nights here. Chris Quagg running in 7th position, Phil Pappas in 6th, as Eugenio trying to secure that yet another top 5 finish. Mike Wright opening up nearly 1 second over Brandon Minto. Joseph Lester still pestering Minto, as it seems like Lester's a pester, that's for darn sure tonight. Seven to go as we roll out of turn 2 and down the backstretch. Mike Wright just laid down the fastest lap of the night in segment 1 on the first half of that lap at 15.31 seconds. Brandon Minto running in 2nd position. Joseph Lester running where he began this race in 3rd position. Mike Wright up 3, Brandon Minto up 3, the biggest movement of the night right now. Matt Mettler driving the number 64 Metallica Ford Mustang. Mike Wright laying down now the fastest lap of the evening at 30.71 seconds. Has about almost 1 point, there it is, just over 1.8 seconds over top of teammate Brandon Minto. Zach Osborne rubbing the walkway out of 4th. That's going to put some distance between Eugenio Alonso and him with 5 to go now. Eugenio Alonso closing in on Joseph Lester, as that's just about the closest battle on track all right now. As Lester inside now of Brandon Minto to try to secure away 2nd position. While they're going to fight that out, that's going to allow Mike Wright to add on to his lead with now 2.7 seconds over top of teammate Brandon Minto. But all of a sudden, Eugenio Alonso getting in here on the mix. Looks to the inside of Lester, who with that injured foot trying to finish this race out with 4 laps to go. They head down the backstretch and into turn 3 as Eugenio Alonso has decided he's ready to turn on and make his move, and he gets right alongside the door panel on the inside of the number 12 upside Ford Mustang. They come out of 4 and Minto gets the run. And where Minto gets the run on exit, it looks like Alonso getting the run on entering. Dirt tracking it once again. Joseph Lester is working it out the best that he can. That foot has to be throbbing by now in his walking pace. Mike Wright, Brandon Minto, and Eugenio Alonso with 3 to go doing battle. It looks like Mike Wright opening now a 3-second lead over top of Minto. That leaves the podium position open for battle with Eugenio Alonso and Joseph Lester. Lester looking to the inside of Alonso, to the outside of Alonso, and right now Eugenio Alonso has managed to make one car 3 wide. smoking that left rear tire is Joseph Lester, who now puts a little bit too much distance between himself and Eugenio Alonso as Alonso rolls out of turn 4. The white flag is in the air. Popsicle sticks him down, and we're racing back to checkers. Mike Wright leads this piece by 3.82 seconds. Brandon Minto still trying to hold off Eugenio Alonso. As we come down the backstretch, Eugenio Alonso looking all around Brandon Minto to see if he can get around him. This may be the move for second position, but Eugenio Alonso doesn't have what it takes to get around Minto. They get ready to cross the start-finish line. Second position goes to Brandon Minto. The third position on our podium goes to Eugenio Alonso, but Mike Wright, the story of the evening, wins stage 1, 2, and the checkered flag here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway in the A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance Xfinity Series. Once again, Mike Wright, you are the man. As his teammate Brandon Minto pulls up alongside of him, Eugenio Alonso on the backstretch going to be waiting patiently. So make sure to get that photo finish here. Decides to put on a show for us. Mike Wright once again finds his way to victory lane in the Monday Night NASCAR Xfinity Series, brought to you by A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance. Hey Mike, it's Dave up here in the booth. You got me?
I got you, Dave.
Well, I hate to interrupt your celebration here as you decide to cover the fans in some asphalt and smoke, but what a run you had tonight, a hard-fought battle. You earned every bit of that checkered flag.
Yeah, a little bit of work. Had some rough racing a little bit. That could have been a little bit cleaner. So I felt like I matched what I needed to get back to the front. Had some interesting strategies there with the way the cautions were flying. But some good hard racing for the most part. Good to see Brandon. He played a different strategy and came out with a second, so that's pretty solid too. So I think we had both strategies covered, which is going to be good.
Well, you know, here's the thing. Every now and then with a teammate like that, you know, if he decides to go a different direction, sometimes it pans out for them. Sometimes it pans out for you. And tonight it panned out for you to get here into victory lane once again. And I mean, you know, every week that I've seen you out here on the racetrack, you just sometimes put on a clinic. And I mean, obviously you saved the best for last, as with 10 to go, you managed to open up a 3-second lead as your teammate was battling it out with Joseph Lester and Eugenio Alonso. I mean, how is it when you know that that's your teammate back there and you're leaving them in the dust?
Oh, I mean, the good news is I know Brandon's gonna race me. He's gonna race everybody clean, and I know he's gonna race me clean, and we're making sure that we're not putting each other in bad spots. So usually, if he's working on somebody, I'll let him work until he tells me, hey, you know what, it's not working out. Go ahead, and then we flip it, and he was just running enough speed to get a good run there at the end. And he did really well to have the tires being older, and he struggled at the beginning of the race with the setup. We definitely were trying to throw some things at the setup for him during the race to make it better, and I made some changes too throughout the race, which definitely made the short run better for the end. So I think that paid off with just how the race went. So happy to be here and get another win for the team here.
Absolutely. Ferda finds their way to victory lane once again. And before we cut you loose, who do you need to thank for this run tonight?
Thank Brandon. We worked hard on this one, trying to get it settled up with practice and then during the race. That's always appreciated. He does a good job talking back and forth with me on some things that we're looking at doing. Overall, just Chris for putting the league on, you for doing your job calling it. I think you had some good stuff to call, so you probably got a little excited at times, which is always good for you. Fresh Market with the car here, so always good to go get some good meal deals there. Some steak, chicken, hamburgers, all your good meats are there. Produce, #1 produce as well. So if you got one nearby, go to it. And then, as Brandon will talk about, go check out his upside with his app and his code. So make sure he tells you about it, so that you can go save on some fuel.
All right, my friend. Well, listen, next week we head to the Tricky Triangle here in my home state, so I'm excited to see what kind of a deal you got for us there. So good luck, and we'll see you next week at Pocono.
All right, look forward to it.
All right, folks, that was our race winner, Mr. Mike Wright. And second on the podium this evening is his teammate, Brandon Minto, another Ferda Motorsports driver. Hey, Brandon, it's Dave up the broadcast booth. You got me.
I got you, Dave.
Hey, man, listen, strong run tonight that you had, but unfortunately maybe too little too late, as, obviously you were battling it out with Eugenio and Joseph Lester. How were you feeling coming into that?
Yeah, I knew early on in the race I didn't have the speed to be up front, like anywhere near the front. So I tried a lot of different like pit strategies, and I ended up pitting. There was a caution in the third stage where I pit like nobody else pit, so I just had a little bit fresher tires. I slowly started driving my way through the field, but then another caution came out and everybody had fresh tires. So at that point I knew that tires mean a lot here, but they're not everything. Like, as long as you keep a clean race, keep a clean line, you can hold off like anybody behind you. And they were only on like 10-ish lap fresher tires than me, so I was able to hold them off, and it's all that matters. And then Mike gets the win tonight, so I'm happy for that.
Yeah, sometimes even when it's not you in victory lane, at least it's a teammate that you can celebrate with. And you guys week in and week out from Ferda always have some of the best stuff that I see on the racetrack. So, and I know a lot of that has to do with setups, and I know that he said that that you were kind of throwing as much as you could at the setup in race. Sometimes you got to throw it to the wall and see what sticks. But next week we head to the Tricky Triangle at Pocono. What are you thinking as we get ready to go off of the short track and head up there to that 2-mile triangle?
I'm excited to go to Pocono. I love racing Pocono. I don't know how good I am at it, really, to be honest, but there's a lot of long straights. I love me some ice cold Miller Lite, so it gives me a lot of time to drink during the race, and I'm looking forward to Pocono. Plus, it's like one of the few tracks that I've been to in person, so it's a lot of fun to drive it. Just that tunnel turn 2, that gets me like every single time.
Well, it's not just you that it gets. It bites a lot of drivers, even the best drivers from time to time. And I mean, Pocono, of course, holds a special place in my heart, as it's here in my home state and just about an hour and a half north of where I live. So, one of my favorite weeks of the year as well. So hopefully we'll get to see some great racing here in the A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance Xfinity Series. Before we cut you loose, I know that you always want to talk about upside, so let us talk to us about that, and tip your helmet to whoever else you need to.
Yeah, definitely. Upside, that's my my little sponsor here on my car. Like, I love using Upside. I use it all the time. Gives me a nice little discount on gas every time I fill up. I drive a truck, so I burn through gas quite a bit, so I'm using the app as much as I possibly can. So if you want to also try to save money on gas, go ahead and download the Upside app. Use promo code Brandon5623344. It'll get you an additional discount on your first tank of gas. I believe it's 15 cents additional on top of what they actually offer. So go ahead, download the app, use that promo code, and then that'll save you a lot of money on gas. And then my parents, they tune in every single week. My uncle, he was drinking a Miller High Life tonight, so he had the champagne of beers tonight. Yes, watching in. And my brother, he'll tune in every single week. My nephews, Winston and Vinny. Like, I always love giving them a shout out because I know it makes their day. And just you, Dave, like, you always put on a great broadcast. So I love going back and watching the race, and then Mike for putting on a great race, coaching me through some things, and just keeping a clean head on my shoulder after getting punted a few times by Lester. There in the end of the race, he was telling me like I was about to dump him, but I'm like, nope, I'm gonna just drive as clean as I can. I gave him a couple shoves here and there, and it was able to let me past them. So It was a good night
Well-
overall for Ferda.
Well, trust me, as much as I like to hear Miller High Life because it is the champagne of beers, next week you may have to put that Miller High Life on the shelf and reach for a Yuengling traditional lager, of course, America's oldest brewery, about 45 minutes southwest of Pocono. So good luck next week, and we'll see you at Pocono.
Absolutely. Have a good one, Dave.
That is Brandon Minto, our second place finisher, and last but certainly not least, our good friend from Buenos Aires, Mr. Eugenio Alonso. Hey, Eugenio, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me.
Hey, Dave, what's up, man?
Nothing, buddy. Listen, a third place finish tonight after you were back there duking it out with, Joseph Lester and, of course, Brandon Minto. Obviously, you had the 86 dialed in tonight, but another checkered flag eludes you. So, here you are leading the points right now with no wins. Consistency is obviously your thing.
Yeah, I find it hard my first win, but it's hard. Mike is another level. He's really good. With him, with Mike in track, it's really hard to get the win. And with Lester trying to hit me every lap, it's really hard.
Yeah, you were definitely getting the bejesus beat out of you. And I mean, one of the things, as there goes the engine on the 86. One of the things that I always watch, especially with you, man, is, your tenacity. You're there hanging on to the race car, trying to do the best that you can. And it just seems like, they always snatch that victory right away from you. As we get ready to go to Pocono next week, what are you thinking? And is this going to be the week that you bring home the checkered flag?
Yeah, I hope, but I'm not really good in Pocono, and I will practice hard this week, but I don't have too much hope for next week. I trying to go in. Taking a top 5 is a good result for me in Pocono.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as we do turn our attention to Pocono, I've said it so many times where, the tracks that you don't like or that you don't do well enough, I know that you're the kind of driver who will put in the practice time. So I'm sure that we'll see that, moving forward as we get ready to head just a little bit further south and head to the Pocono Mountains here in Pennsylvania. But before we cut you loose, who do you need to thank for tonight?
I will thanks to my team, JDM, Jack Dowell Motorsport, and Nitro Setup Shop. He do the all hard work to take a great car every week.
All right, man. Well, listen, congratulations on the podium finish, and we'll see you next week at Pocono.
Thank you, Dave. See you next week.
Well, folks, as some of my other partners say, another one in the books here in the A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance Xfinity Series. And before we head out, I would be remiss if I didn't look at the final results here for this race. 19 cars took the green flag, and Mike Wright brings home the checkered flag, and, of course, the green and white checkered flags of stage 1 and 2 here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. He's joined on the podium tonight by Brandon Minto and Eugenio Alonso. Fourth place belongs to Zach Osborne, and rounding out the top 5, driving injured, is Joseph Lester out of Damascus, Virginia. Finishing in 6th was Phil Pappas. Chris Claude finishes in 7th position, up 2 from where he had qualified. Gabriel Lafreniere from St. Jude finishes in 8th position. 9th is Zachary Vaughn, and rounding out the top 10, Mr. Matt Mettler, driver of the number 64 Metallica Ford Mustang. 11th is Ron Fitting. McAdoo, Pennsylvania's very own John Wilco, getting ready to go to that hometown track at Pocono next week right here on Sim Racing Media. 13th finishes John Bawalda, who will be in person at Pocono Raceway. Alexander Gangler finishes 14th. Steve Herring finishes 15th. Rich Jett in 16th. Dan Morgan and Bennett Allen finish 17th and 18th. And last but certainly not least, Orlando, Florida's very own Nicholas Breidenbach finishing in 19th. So that is how it wraps up here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And of course, next week we get to go to a much larger track, double the size of this 1 miler here in the hills of New Hampshire. I'm Dave Regal here in the Sim Racing Media broadcast booth live in Norristown, Pennsylvania, saying thank you for making us a part of your evening right here on Sim Racing Media. And tomorrow, as you go through your day, remember, you're special just the way you are. There's no one else like you, and that's good enough for you. Good night, everybody.
You